Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it's a beautiful early February day in Southwest Florida. It's actually a little warm here today, but as long as these guys are loving it, I'm okay. We are here today because we're taking care of a few issues, a few things. If you watched my video, I guess about 2 or 3 or maybe 4, I don't know, videos ago, I did some virus testing on some of my plants, and I had 2 that I suspected were virus infested, and they were. So those have moved away, and now I have space. So I need to of course fill in that space with something else. So I'm going to take care of that. The other thing is that I have a lot of the seedlings, the seedlings that I bring home from the laboratory that are getting big and backing up. So I need to put those, I got these in these 2-inch pots, and the plants are getting a little bit big for these pots. I think if I put them in larger pots, I'll just get a lot of growth. All these seedlings are putting out a lot of roots and leaves, so it's time to move them from 2-inch pots to 4-inch pots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these into 4-inch pots. I'm going to put 4 of the 4-inch pots into these. These are aquatic plant baskets, and I've shared these with you in the past. I get these from Amazon, and they're about $4 each. But what you can do, and the reason I like these square baskets, is that I can, it's the size of just one of my other, orchid pots here or here, and I could put 4 of these 4-inch pots in one of these. I could put 16 of the 2-inch pots in here. So the square pots fit in here nicely. The square pots fit in the square containers nicely. So I have space, and that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to put these in the space that was vacated by my virus-infected plants. The problem with that is one of the plants was actually in my orchid pergola. And what's been going on in my pergola is, and I have these things spread all over the place. I don't know if I have any. I've got one behind me. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over there. I've got probably 3 down there. I think I've got like 3 or 4 in my pergola. And I like putting them in my pergola. The only problem is when I put 4 plants in a basket like this. So this is one of the baskets that I removed from my pergola today, just to show you, but it'll go back in there. But what happens, and what's been happening a lot here recently, is my pergola's outside, all my plants are outside, and what's going on is I'm getting the pigeons, which I like birds, but pigeons are gross, and they make a mess. And they love to build really poorly made nests in these baskets. So they go right down in the middle of these things. They don't care that these are my seedlings and delicate. They just step all over them. They plop things down in there, and they'll raise their family in there if given the opportunity. So I've had some partly built nests that I've had in these baskets that I've just taken out, and I see them when I'm working in my orchid space. I see them flying around, and I know they're just stubborn, and they keep on trying to build things in there. So I've taken the majority of my baskets like this out of my pergola. I've got a few more in there, and I've hung them on my fence. And this happens like in little spurts. So you have, for some reason, this couple is just, they love the real estate in my pergola. They love building nests in there, but I won't have it. So I'm going to keep them out of there, and they'll hopefully set up home somewhere else. They'll put nests up in anywhere. I just don't like it when they do it in my orchids. All right, so anyway, what I'm going to do though And so I did want to show you this. So this is, you know, this is a nice basket. This is how they fit in. And some of these, you know, some of these seedlings are they get their decent size. So, you know, this one right here is, you know, it's a nice size seedling. And I'm going to do the same thing here today that I did with this probably a few months ago. So this is actually the parent of this seedling right here is Oprah Winfrey, that's actually blooming behind me now. The parent of this seedling right here, one of the parents, is Mahina Yahiro. That is the pink one right back here. The next one over is one of the parents is Momolani Rainbow, which is right here. So these guys are all, you know, they're growing and they're flowering and they're doing well. I like using the plants in my collection mostly to make my crosses because I know the plants that I have here are going to do well in this environment. So that's kind of an incentive for me to do that. But what I want to do is show you how I repot my, my Cattleya seedlings into these 4-inch pots. So these are actually, this is interesting, these are sturdy pots. These aren't the same as the ones that I just showed you. The ones that I showed you, the pots tend to be, after time, they're actually just a hair smaller, but they're pretty much the same size. These tend to be a little brittle over time if they're out. These seem to be a lot sturdier, so we'll see how these go. And I just bought these right here. I bought this group from Amazon earlier this week, and it ends up being, I think, about 50 cents per pot, which is okay. What I do here, and I'm going to show you the potting medium that I use for these Cattleyas, and the potting medium that I use really does, it's dictated by what I've tried over the years and what works for this space. In this area of Southwest Florida, it's wet, right? It's humid right now. It's pretty humid today, and it rained last night, and in the summertime it rains every day. So you have to use a mix that is very well drained, that dries out quickly. And what I found over the years is that although I put these seedlings in classic grade Orchiata, that's what I plant them in out of flasks. They do well in here, but what happens over time with this warm weather and this humidity, it tends to degrade really quickly. And then what happens is, as a result of that, is it degrades, it makes smaller particles, and you lose aeration in the roots. So what I'm doing is I'm going to transfer them from here until here, and it's actually a really large pot for these size orchids, but that's what I do, and it's been working out well for me, and I want to make sure there's a lot of room for root growth here, and these are going to get big quickly. What I do though in my medium is at the bottom of the pot I put lava stone. So I have lava stone here, and I'll just put it just a monolayer of the stone. So this is what the lava stone looks like. Here's a big stone. And you get these at the big box stores. So the lava stone I put at the bottom of the pot, just a monolayer. And then what I'll do is take my seedling here, and I'm just going to grab one here, keep the tag, don't want to lose that. And I will essentially remove it from this, and it's in here good. What happens is the roots really grab on to the pot. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of shake off. I'll do it down lower. I'm making a mess up here. So I'll shake off the Orchiata. I won't pull it off, so there's still a little bit stuck on the roots here. And then I just kind of put it down in the pot. I offset it just a little bit. You want the new growth to be in the center of the pot as it's coming out, and this new leaf right here, these pseudobulb, that'll be in the center of the pot growing out. So I have lava stone on the bottom, and then what I put on top to stabilize it and hold it down is this is giant leca. So these are these are inorganic leca is, I think it's lightly expanded clay aggregate. So, and these are large particles of this clay. And so what I'm doing here is I put it in here, and I try to get most of them in here, and I just kind of knock it down and shake it down around the roots, kind of like that. You know, you want the level of this stuff to be what it was. And what I found happens is as the roots grow out of the new pseudobulbs, they kind of go along the surface and they go down in the leca, and I think that they really like to adhere to the leca particles nicely. So that is this first one here, and so we got one here, and I'm going to take the label out of the bottom of the thing, and then they go in here. So that's all there is to it. I think I have maybe around I think, how many of these do I have to do today? So these are some of the seedlings right here that I pulled out that looked big, that I went and looked at my seedlings that looked big, looked like they needed to be transplanted, and then I've got all the best of the best right here, and so these are the ones that I'm going to transfer. The second one is right here, and I'll go through a few of these so you can see what I do. And again, this one, they sometimes, they're difficult to get out of the pot. But what I do again is shake off just easily what comes off easily. I shake off most of the bark again, and I don't try to really pick off. You don't want to disturb the roots too much. When I was visiting Fred Clark a few weeks ago, you know, and he was explaining to me what he did. So he uses, for his first step, he uses sphagnum moss. And the sphagnum, and then I asked him, I said, you keep the sphagnum moss around the roots, right, when you transfer it into the next medium, the next mix. And he then started, you know, giving me the lecture about how delicate roots are, and I let him give me the lecture. But you don't want to, you know, when you repot like this, and when you do everything, you want to disturb the roots as little as possible. So I shake off the orchiata, but I don't pull it off. I try not to really disturb the roots too much. Okay, so that's the second one right here. Moving on, and I'm going to do this 2 more times so you can see what I do, and then I'm just going to pot up the rest and show you the result of it later. Let's pick, oh, look how nice this one is. Okay, save the tag, get the plant out. Jeez. I mean, it's good that they're stuck in there, which means the, you know, the roots are just really grabbing on to the, you know, to the side of the pot. Big leaf coming out of this one. And, oh, now I got to go here. So I've actually got the leca, the clay particles. I've got them on the ground and here. Put them up here because it was easier to get to, and then I went ahead and reached on the ground anyway. Okay, again, the final step, and I don't know whether I explained this to you, but every time you do this, you just have to make sure that that you tap the medium in there, just to make sure that everything settles down and that the plant is in the medium nicely. Okay, so one more. And I should mention, wow. I guess they get packed down when they get sent to you in the mail. I haven't taken them apart yet. The other thing that I do, well, I'll have to explain to you at the end what I do. Okay, new hybrid right here. Pretty excited. This wasn't even deflasked that long ago. I'm gonna guess this was came out of the pot really easily. So I think this was, oh, and this medium is really wet. So it's good that I Good that I got this out. I should say that most of the roots in here, this one is kind of a surprise. The medium was really wet, and most of the cases when you do this, you know, the roots, it's not as wet as that, but when they're wet like this and the roots don't look that great, it really is a good idea to get it out. This was too wet. This plant was too wet. And what's going to happen when these things are too wet is you're going to get some rot. You know, it doesn't matter if you spray it, doesn't matter what you're going to do to it. They just don't do well if it's too wet. That's just how it is. Okay, so I mean, that's all there is to it. These guys are in here really well. And then what I'm going to do, I'm having a hard time getting the tag in here because I got the medium packed in here so well. So the last thing that I'm going to do with this, and I'm not going to show you exactly what I do, but the last thing that I'll come back at the end and show you what I'm done. But after I potted all these guys I potted them all up like this, and I've got, what do I have? 5 more. Is that it? Just 5 more? Yeah. I might do 6. But what I'm going to do is I put a time-release fertilizer in each pot, and I have 9-month Nutricoat, and Nutricoat is a time-release fertilizer that is as opposed to Osmocoat, that is you'll have maybe more nutrient that's released at higher temperatures, which in Florida means, you know, higher temperatures in most of the year and it gets hot here, but Nutricoat is more of it's released more gradually, and it's not as influenced by temperature. So I'll put Nutricoat in there, and then I also will put a granular fungicide that is not even approved for orchids on the label. It's a turf fungicide, so it's just a general fungicide. I don't know very many other people that do it. I don't know if it's, you know, how helpful it is, but I always put some in. I figure it doesn't hurt. All right, so, and then what I'm going to do is with these baskets is I'll put wire hangers like this, and I'll position them just in various places in my collection and be done, and I'll be back to full capacity soon. All right, so let me do the rest of these, and I'll get right back with you and show you what everything looks like. Okay, and we're back, and so I potted up all the plants. It just didn't take very long at all, and again, what I did is I put everything together. I put a little bit of Nutricoat and a little bit of my granular fungicide. I then, what I didn't tell you I was going to do, which I do, is I then wash it down really good. The leca and even the lava stone or lava rock, they all contain particulate, and what I like to do is wash them pretty well after I pot them up. So all of these things, it's dripping out the bottom now. So these plants that I potted up, half in front of you and half when half in between the video clips, I put the fungicide and the fertilizer on, and then I washed them pretty well. I showered them with water just to make sure that everything settles down and get all of the dust, the red dust out. And actually, you can look at the pot and see the water coming out, and you wait for it to become clear instead of brown, and then you know you've got it enough. So these things are good. I'll put these in various places, and hopefully the pigeons won't start making nests in these. The ones that I didn't use, some of these are really nice. The ones that I didn't use, I'm going to hold on to and see what happens. I may actually even bring them to my local orchid society and try to get rid of some of them there because I have so many. The one last thing that I do want to share with you that I do is because I have a lot of seedlings, and because I can't afford, I have such a small growing space, I can't afford to grow even 10 plants of each of the hybrids that I make. And so I've capped myself at 5 plants from each of the hybrids, and I've got a lot of these plants, and they're small and they're all over the place. They're mostly in containers like this, but I have some that are just singly in. I have these containers, these same pots that I melt holes in, and I just have single pots like this hanging all over the place in little plates. It's hard to keep track of the number of plants that I have, so I keep track here. So I have in my notes, I have one of the notes that I have, it's 4-inch pots, and then I have all of my hybrids I have here, and a number of how many plants I have in 4-inch pots of each of my hybrid. So for example, Julia Smile, which is one of my oldest ones, I have 4 plants of that. And again, what I said is I should have 5. Kim Renee, I have 5. Benjamin, I have 3. Billy Baby, I have 4. I just did another Billy Baby today. So what I need to do as I pot these up, I will add them to this list. So I keep records of everything. If, and this does happen, if they don't make it, then I have to, as I'm throwing plants out, I keep the tag, but then I also mark which ones I have and which ones I don't have, because I don't want to overdo it. Some of these plants are going to do really well, and I don't just want to keep on potting up the ones that are big or that grow well. I want to kind of distribute things out, because I've got a lot more coming. On the bottom of my list, I have here's one on my list, Finer Love. I have just 2 of those that I did today, and so I need to keep track of all of these plants that I've done over time. And again, I don't want to keep too many of the real vigorous growing ones, even though I'm attracted to those. I want to do those, but I'd like to share those with other people too. So again, that's the last thing I do as far as record keeping, because it would just be such a problem I want to know exactly what I have. I don't know where it is. That would be another fun thing to do. I don't know where it is, but I do know the number of plants that I have of each of these in 4-inch pots. I don't know the number that I have in 2-inch pots. I think that would be crazy. That'd be too much. I know the number of flasks I have. Anyway, I'm a little crazy with record keeping. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I hope you liked today's video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for you. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.